Alright, so it's the 19th of June 2015 and I'm standing here in a place called Palisades Interstate Park in New Jersey, and behind me you can see the George Washington Bridge. I've got my bicycle here with me, rigged up with all of my video recording equipment, and in this video I'm going to show you what it's like to ride across the George Washington Bridge over into Manhattan, and then we're going to continue on beyond Manhattan into the Bronx, and our ending point is going to be Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Alright, so we'll start by riding out from this park over to the entranceway to the George Washington Bridge. Very large suspension bridge which links the upper part of Manhattan with New Jersey. And they built this nice park that's right near it with that nice lookout spot overlooking the bridge and over to the other side. Today's actually my first time ever being over here with my bike. I had never ridden across the George Washington Bridge before. Well, let me tell you, it certainly was a thrill. Really enjoyed my ride over, and I hope you enjoy my ride back through my video. So we're just exiting the park now. And we'll make a right onto this road here. It's called Hudson Terrace. And then just make a right here. And this is the pedestrian slash cyclist walkway across. And you certainly get a nice view. As a pedestrian and a cyclist, you're right beside the railing. And you get to see right over the edge. And on a day like today, when it's pretty clear, you can see really far. All right, here we go. So we're just approaching the first big tower supporting the bridge. We gotta jog around this. And straight ahead you can see the rest of the bridge. And I'll just make a quick little stop here and I'll give you a shot with my other video camera. So from here you can see right down the Hudson River, all the way down to all the big buildings in downtown Manhattan. And if you look really far, you can even see the Statue of Liberty in the middle of the camera. Alright, so we'll continue along here, back to the main walkway right here. Now I noticed when I was coming over, every time that I stopped to take pictures, I really found that the whole bridge was really shaking a lot. There's a lot of rumbling from all the traffic going across it, and it's a little bit scary. So if you're afraid of heights and you want to come across this bridge, I would just recommend riding across and not making any stops, because while you're riding you don't feel any of the rumbling. So I'll make another stop when we get to the approximate center of the bridge. The helicopter flying overhead. Over in the other direction, it's not nearly as exciting. A lot more green in that direction. Quite spectacular view. Alright, so this is the approximate center of the bridge, so I'll just pull over here and we'll get another shot looking down Manhattan. So there's the land immediately across, and we'll be riding through those buildings, through the street that those buildings are on shortly. And now we're just looking down further into the island. You can see the Empire State Building there. Empire State Building is that tall point there in the middle of the screen right now. This point over here, I believe, is the Chrysler Building. And that tall point there is the tallest building in Manhattan, One World Trade Center. And from downtown I'll zoom out and you can see the big Hudson River. It's a very wide river, and a few years ago there was a pilot who took off with his plane at LaGuardia Airport, and right after takeoff both engines of the plane got ruined from some birds that were flying in the air, and he had no engines and he wasn't very high off the ground, and there wasn't enough room to be able to turn around and land back on that runway, and he was able to amazingly land the plane here in the Hudson River, and everyone lived and survived. Alright, so we'll continue on across. So this is a very large suspension bridge. I'm pretty sure it's much longer than any of the other bridges that I've ridden on so far in this trip. The ones that have ridden on that were on the east side. Unlike the other ones, since Manhattan at this point and New Jersey both have big cliffs on either side, they're quite elevated above the ground level, so the bridges are actually able to start, the bridge decks are able to start pretty much right at regular ground level, so you don't have to ride up a steep slope when you're coming up and over the bridge. Beside us, you can see that there is, looks like 4 lanes of traffic going in the same direction as us. On the other side, there's another 4. And then there's also another deck which is below us that has additional vehicles that cross it. I might be wrong, but I don't think there are any transit vehicles, any trains that go across, but I could be wrong about that. So here we are at the other big pillar. We'll make one more little stop there with the other camera to get a better view looking down the Hudson River. And if I zoom in this way, we'll be able to see the spot where I started this video over there in the trees where there's that small clearing. Alright, continuing on underneath the pillar and back out to the main walkway of the bridge. So now that we're more than halfway across the Hudson River, we're no longer in the state of New Jersey, we're in the state of New York, the municipality of New York City, the borough of Manhattan. The neighborhood of New York that we're going to be entering in and going across is a neighborhood which is called Washington Heights. And I spent a little bit of time in this neighborhood this morning before I started filming this video. I ate my lunch there. It's a very, at least the parts that I saw of it, were very Spanish. Walking down the street, you didn't hear anyone speaking any language other than Spanish, or if they were speaking in a language other than Spanish, it wasn't one that I recognized. I guess what I'm saying is I didn't hear anyone that was speaking English walking down the street. So I decided to get some kind of a Spanish meal. So I went to a restaurant, and the person in the restaurant, I don't think she spoke very much English. I basically just pointed on the menu at what I wanted, and we didn't really have much of a conversation. Alright, so we're just going to do this loop here to get around and get back down to regular ground level. For I'll yield to these other cyclists that are coming up the hill. All right, now we're on regular ground level. So this is Washington Heights, or at least a portion of it. This road I'm on is 177th Street. So very far up Manhattan. I think the Manhattan starts, the downtown area doesn't have numbered streets, but when the streets start, the first one is called First Street, first numbered street, and then it goes pretty much all the way from 1 to 200. Although there are some parts that don't have numbered streets in. So since we're at 177, we're very close to the top. All right, this is Fort Washington Avenue, which is what we're going to take to go south, or at least south for a little bit, to meet up with the east-west road that I need to take. And we're going to be riding through a university campus, and that's when we were crossing, I pointed out that there was some tall buildings over on the shore here. There's this university campus which has a teaching hospital that's over here. So I believe that's what all those tall buildings were. We can see ahead of us. And I didn't see on the sign, I couldn't really see what the name of this campus was, but I think it's associated with Columbia University. We're still pretty far away from the main Columbia University campus, the one that's near where the Tom's restaurant is, that I started my last video from. So if you've never seen one of these videos before, I'm cjhoyle and I'm from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And I make bicycling and bicycle maintenance videos and a variety of other videos as well. But this is a form of video that I've been trying to perfect for the last few years. Basically, I have a camera that I mount on my bike and I ride around different areas, and I have a microphone that I narrate what we're doing and seeing. And that just hopefully helps keep it interesting, because I think it would be hard to follow a half-hour to 1 hour video of just simply riding footage and road noises, or riding footage and music. So this is the Milstein Hospital building on our right-hand side. New York Presbyterian Columbia University Medical Center is what the sign on the right there said. So that's, I guess, what the campus is. So it's like the medical division of Columbia University. All right, we're almost at the road. This is the road actually right here that we need to turn left onto. So as I said, right now we're going south. Soon we're going to turn left, and we'll be going east towards the East River. Oh. So just wait my turn to turn left here. And we've got a bit of a hill here to climb. Manhattan, near the south end, near the downtown and midtown areas, is quite flat. There's not very many hills, but the further north you go, the more hills you'll encounter. So this video will be considerably more hilly than some of the others that I've made. So the street that we're on is West 165th Street. So we've come down 12 blocks from where we started after we got off the bridge. Now we're going across. This avenue here is called St. Nicholas Avenue. And that's where I went. It seemed to be a kind of the main street around here, at least for shopping and stores and stuff. That's where I found a place to eat my lunch. So the place that we're going to be crossing over to the Bronx is a bridge which is called High Bridge. And it's actually a place that I discovered on my last trip to New York City back in 2011. And I basically just found this park and I followed this trail, and I thought it was going to lead further up the island. I didn't look at my map or anything. I just assumed, oh, this will probably continue up along the coast. And then all of a sudden it just kind of came to a dead end. And there was this big bridge which went across the East River all the way over to Harlem. And I saw it and I thought, oh, this would be great. But unfortunately the bridge was closed and didn't have any signs. It just explaining why it was closed. It just said that, the bridge is closed right now. So I did some research on it afterwards, and it turns out that's a very historic bridge, an old bridge that was built back in like the early to mid 1800s. And it's actually not just a bridge, it's actually an aqueduct. And that was where the supply of water, fresh drinking water that everybody in Manhattan used to drink and use for washing and cleaning and everything. That's where it used to come through, because there's no you know, natural springs or anything on the island, and like because the island is limited, it's off from the mainland. So they had a river over there in the Bronx, which they connected with the rest of. They made it continue over across the East River through means of a mechanical bridge that went across and carried pipes of water, and then they had a pedestrian deck on top of it so people could also use the bridge for getting across. However, after many years of it being there, that bridge fell into disrepair and it was closed down to pedestrians for many, many years. And the last time I was here, the bridge was still closed down and being repaired. So when I was looking into seeing if it would be open for this trip to New York City, I looked it up and it said it should be opening in the spring or summer of this year. And I'm here in June, so I figured, oh, it's a really good chance that I'll be able to ride across it this time. And then I did some more research on it, and I saw an article from maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and it said the same thing, that, you know, the bridge should be open this summer, and then that summer came and went, and then they said, oh, it should be ready for next summer, and then next summer was next summer, and then they've kept delaying it. So I became a little bit discouraged that I might not be able to ride across this bridge, because every year they basically promised that it would be ready for the summer or spring. But anyways, I kind of gave up on the idea until this morning when I looked it up and found out that they actually opened it for the first time since the 1970s, back on the 9th of June, so 10 days ago. So this is a very new bridge, not new bridge, but I'm one of the very first to have been able to ride across it in the new millennium, I guess we'd say, right? Since the 1970s. So if you're watching this video several years from now, it won't be as special because this bridge will have been there and open for many years by then. But really lucky timing with when my trip was planned for. If I had done it last month, wouldn't have been able to ride across this old historic bridge. And it's just a really nice connection between Washington Heights and the Bronx. It takes us to a very close place to where Yankee Stadium is. So for people living in Washington Heights, if they want to go and watch a baseball game, it's certainly would be walkable, and as well as bikeable in a much faster. Biking across would be much faster, of course. So here is High Bridge. It's open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. They close it down in the evenings. And there you can see it. Oh, okay.
You can ride it on the bridge, it's not on the ramp.
Okay, thank you.
Don't forget to look at the...
Pardon? Yeah, I know.
Have you seen it already?
Yeah, there's a few of them across.
Oh, I've been over.
Yeah. So I just stopped there and talked to a guy who is a cyclist as well. This is his first time riding across the bridge or walking across the bridge now that it's open. So I'm just I'll stop about halfway across as I did on the last bridge, and we'll just get a shot from my other camera looking across. It's a pretty good spot right here. So this is the East River that we're crossing now. The body of water that's on the east side of Manhattan. The Hudson that we crossed before is the one that's on the west side. And there's downtown. And I believe that is the Chrysler building that we see there. The Empire State Building, I think, is behind that building there, so we can't quite see it from here. But I'll stop at the other end and I'll get a shot of that once we get down there. When I was first coming onto the bridge, there was a security guard that told me I At first I thought she was going to tell me I wasn't allowed to ride on the bridge with my bike, but she was just telling me that I wasn't allowed to ride on the walkway, like the ramp coming down into the bridge. All right, we'll stop here because now I can see the Empire State Building. So that point right there is the Empire State Building. All right, well, continuing on, you can see an American flag flying over there on our left. So along the bridge, you can see there are these brass plaques that are embedded into the bridge. They kind of look like sewer grates, but they're actually very detailed plaques that have been put there for the bridge. I guess I'll just stop and I'll show you this one here. So that's what the original High Bridge looked like, with the big stone arches, and the stone arches went very tall, which allowed sailboats with tall masts to be able to pass through underneath them. And from the plaque, it looks like construction began in the year 1839 and it finished, it was completed in 1846. And underneath it says, bringing water across the Harlem River was an engineering challenge. The High Bridge was a marvel of design, evoking an ancient Roman aqueduct. And I was mistaken when I called the water body that's out there the East River. This is actually the Harlem River. If we were to go further down, this water body would meet up with the East River, which is a joining of a few different rivers, I guess. And it gets wider when it becomes the East River. All right, so that was the High Bridge. As I said, if we had been here 11 days earlier, we wouldn't have been able to have enjoyed riding along across that. But now it's open for you to come and enjoy. The route that I'm doing today is one that I actually would recommend doing if you came to New York City. The George Washington Bridge was really I didn't do it the first time that I came here. It wasn't, first time I came to New York City was back in 2011. And I had a big list of things that I wanted to see. And the George Washington Bridge was one of them, but I figured I'd be able to, just seeing it from below would be enough. Well, you can see here there's gonna be a protected bike lane for us to ride along here, which I'm sure they're putting in now, especially since the High Bridge is open. They want some connecting bike infrastructure from here. So as I was saying, I thought that being able to just see it from below would be enough, but now having actually ridden across it and fully, appreciated what that was like, I would recommend riding across it if you're in New York City with a bike. Even walking across it would be really good. You get a pretty good view, I guess, from your car looking out the side. But as a pedestrian or a cyclist, you actually get, you're right beside the railing. You can see right over it. There's nothing between you and that great view looking down the Hudson River. All right, just wait for this traffic light. So we've got some nice steep hills to come down. And I guess I didn't say it, but we are now in the Bronx, which is a separate borough of New York City. It's part of the large municipality, amalgamated city of New York. But it is a separate borough. And in this route that I'm doing now, I think I'm spoiled by getting mostly downhills because there's really wasn't very much uphill that I had to climb in order to as I was riding along in this video. So we'll continue riding down. I'm looking for a street that's called Shakespeare Drive, I think it is. Maybe it's Boulevard. Here it is, Shakespeare Avenue. At least I knew it was called Shakespeare. Alright, turning right here. So I did spend some time this morning riding around the Bronx before riding over to Washington Heights and over to New Jersey. I did come up through the Bronx and rode around a little bit. My observation with the Bronx is that it seems to be more run down than the other boroughs that I've seen. The buildings and the cars, you see a lot of cars that are missing, missing hubcaps, missing fenders and doors and all kinds of stuff like that. This part right here really isn't too bad. Everything looks in pretty good shape here. When I rode up through here, I rode over an island which is called Randall's Island Park, which is an island between three different boroughs, and the roadway that comes through there is called the Tri-Borough Bridges. Lots more downhill to do. So I came up through that bridge, and then I came up through the very bottom of the Bronx, and that was the area that I found it seemed kind of run down. Although I never felt unsafe or anything like that. I haven't really had any experiences during my trip here, and this is my 7th day, where I felt unsafe from the people around me or anything like that. Back in the 70s and 80s, New York City had very high crime rates and really wasn't that safe a place to be. But these days it's pretty safe as far as I'm concerned. Alright, so now we're riding towards Yankee Stadium. I guess we're heading south now. I can't remember the name of this road, but I'll tell you when we get to the next street sign. So this road here that we're going to cross is called East 165th Street, which is, we're actually on West 165th Street earlier, but that was in a different borough. But the road that I'm on right now is called Jerome. And that white building that we can see with all the limestone that's on our left up ahead, that's the new Yankee Stadium, built not that many years ago, less than 10 years old, but it was built to be as much of a replica as possible to the original Yankee Stadium, which was built very close to it. So I'll stay on Jerome. I guess this FedEx truck isn't going to move because it's not even turned on. So there's Yankee Stadium, Gate 2, and a parking garage beside it. I'll continue on through here. Across here. And I believe there's a game on here today, because when I was riding through there were people that were lining up and getting ready to go inside. I think it's a night game though, so I think some people just wanted to be here really early. They maybe had some kind of an event if you came early to the game. Now they've got lots of gates set up in front of, lots of crowd barricade stuff set up in front. Just turn around and show you that. There is gate 4. Well, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed joining me on this bike ride today, starting in New Jersey and ending here at Yankee Stadium. Stay tuned to my channel for more videos of me riding around New York City. Tomorrow is my last day, but I should be able to make at least one more video. Please leave a comment and let me know what you thought of this video, and thanks for watching.